My wealthy dad died, leaving everything to my older sister. My mom is now destitute. This situation is complicated, so please excuse the vague title. Also, a few minor details have been fudged to provide some anonymity. My dad had a marriage before the one to my mother. It was only for a couple of years, but they had one child, my older sister. My mom was her babysitter, and ended up marrying my dad when my older sister was 5. I was born 9 years later, and then my younger sister was born 2 years after that. After my younger sister was born, my mom decided she didn't give two shits about my older sister, and that she was taking resources from my younger sister and I. I'm not trying to defend her, just give context. She basically prevented our dad from paying for my older sister to go to college, or helping her financially in any way, along with pretty badly abusing older sister while dad was away on business trips. My older sister is now in her late 30s, I'm in my late 20s, and my younger sister is in her mid-20s. Our dad passed away of heart failure a few weeks ago, and all hell has broken loose. Apparently, some time ago my dad convinced my mom to divorce him for tax reasons. My mom is not good with money, and was paying her a chunk of change in alimony every month while they still lived together. So the will has nothing for her except one small house he owned in the middle of nowhere. My younger sister and I are both given trust funds that pay out a monthly stipend and can be used for certain expenses, weddings, medical bills, grad school, etc. Everything else, the business, the money, all the other houses, everything, was left to my older sister. This doesn't really bug me as I wasn't interested in taking up the family business and have a decent career on my own, but my mother apparently doesn't have a savings or retirement fund of any kind, and hasn't worked since she babysat my older sister ages ago. She didn't finish high school, she dropped out to marry my dad when she turned 18. I tried approaching my older sis to talk to her about giving something to my mom so she doesn't have to work, but she is pretty firm on making sure that my mom gets nothing. I tried going from the angle that our dad was kind of a predator, he was never faithful to my mom either, and my mom didn't know any better, but she is of the opinion that being destitute is her just desserts for the crap my mom put her through. I tried to see if maybe mom could contest the will on the grounds of them having a common law marriage, as no one knew they were divorced except them as far as I know, but MO apparently did away with common law marriage in the 1920s. My older sister is the executor of the estate, and it's in probate right now. I think that's the right terminology. Sorry, I'm not a lawyer, but I gave a copy of the will to my friend's dad who is, and he said he'd take a look over the weekend. My questions: 1. Can the trust one was given be used to help my mother instead of me? 2. Is there some kind of loophole where we can still get some money from my older sister to make sure mom doesn't have to work? I know she probably should get a job, but she has no experience and is over 50. 3. If we can't get money from my older sister / the estate / my trust, am I required to provide my mother with care if she refuses to get a job? I'm hoping to get some answers to these as a sort of second opinion alongside friend's dad's opinion, so I know if I need to be setting aside money for an attorney to fight hard for my mom or just kind of distance myself. And now, here are some comments. Comment number 1.
It sounds like your father deliberately excluded her from his will for a reason. Your older sister is under no obligation to give any restitution to your mom, as all items under your father's estate that were given to her were done so legally.
Comment number 2.
So your mother, who was once in a position of power and trust over a child, and who abused that position to deprive said child, is now in a situation of deprivation and need herself? And you want to force the abused person to support her abuser? Listen, you've already said that you had a lawyer friend start to look over your father's will. At this point his or her advice is going to be a million times more relevant than a bunch of people on a Reddit. Nothing we say is going to be based on 1/10 of the knowledge he or she will have based on a reading of the will. All I really have to say is that this really sounds like a just deserved situation.
Comment number 3.
So you want your abused older sister to support your abusive mother who abused her. Good luck with that. To answer your question, you've already stated that you have a lawyer's friend looking at the will. Their advice is probably going to be more useful than anything here.
Comment number 4.
I'm sorry for your loss, and for the family drama that follows. Assuming their divorce was final, the divorce decree sets out what assets your mother was entitled to. Any outstanding obligations are liabilities against your father's estate, but the rest of your father's assets were his to distribute as he pleased. If your sister feels this is wrong, she can return it. If your mother feels that the distribution of assets violates her rights under the divorce decree, then she's free to get an estate attorney and litigate against the estate to overturn the will or to claim money she's owed before the rest is distributed. To your questions: 1. Only either before the assets are entrusted, e.g. if your mother is owed money from your father's estate, or if the terms of the trust allows the trustee to make such a distribution. Otherwise, the trustee is obligated to follow the terms of the trust. Once the assets become yours, you can do with them as you wish. 2. By design, no. That was something they were expected to have solved during the divorce. 3. No, you are not obligated to care for your mother, or to provide for her. MO also has no laws obligating you to pay her medical bills if she is destitute, something a few states do have. Any money or support you give your mother is a gift from you to her, to be given of your own free will.
And this is all for today's story. See you soon.